Welcome to the Make Me Whole podcast. I'm your host, Josette Rosado, and it's time to talk getting past what's difficult, trusting our own abilities to do more, and keeping it that way. I know most of you read the title of my podcast and were thinking, oh my gosh, what is she going to talk about? But as a Gen Xer, how can I not bring up the kind of person that I am and what I believe in and why I think that makes us so different from the people around us? Gen Xers, who are they? They are the people who were born between 1965 and 1980. We are the meat in the boomer millennial sandwich, and we are often described as America's middle child. We don't have a glamorous reputation, and we definitely don't get as much attention as boomers or millennials, but we also don't care, which actually is really cool. And no two Gen Xers are alike, but if you came into contact with them, you'll see that they have very similar characteristics. Right now, Gen Xers make up about 65 million people, which compared to boomers at 75 million and millennials at 83 million, we are definitely the forgotten generation. We came up in age when there were more instances of divorce or two income households, and that affected our family life significantly. When that was happening, we found that our mothers were working more and we relied on ourselves for our upbringing. The term latchkey kid, or those kids that would stay home after school unsupervised while waiting for a parent to get home from work, yeah, that came with our generation. Self-reliance was key, and figuring out what you needed to do was of great importance. Generation X also had a very hands-off upbringing, and that resulted in our ability to get hands-on when it came to figuring out problems. If you are a Gen Xer, you probably remember what it's like to have to pick up a mess before your parent got home, how to plunge that toilet and clean up the water that fell everywhere before a parent get home, to get the smell of the smoke from the burnt plate of food in the kitchen out of the house before a parent came home. We have this can-do attitude that has served us well ever since. It does make it hard when we are dealing with a younger generation that often relies on everyone else to do it for them. We just can't comprehend how people can't figure things out or feel like they are entitled to whatever they want without working for it. When it came to fashion, listen, I was more comfortable in a flannel shirt and my Doc Martens, maybe my oversized sweaters, than anything that the fashion industry has ever brought out. And I know my Gen Xers understand that our looks, our natural looks, were perfectly fine no matter where we went. That whole flannel shirt and Doc Marten, kind of funny how it's coming back into style. Sometimes my 19-year-old daughter will come in and I'll say, "Get out of my closet." We don't follow trends. We never have. And we do seek comfort and individual style as opposed to following influencers or worrying about what others thought. We came at the age before smartphones and the internet and social media. We truly do not care about that life. We've got the whole work-life balance thing down to a T. We're called the work hard, play hard generation. Gen Xers came into the workforce when technology wasn't even thinking about the notion of being on call 24/7. The reality of the experience of growing up with workaholic parents who valued their loyalty over everything else shaped our priorities as Gen Xers with regard to like our work and life balance. And it gave us a leg up on healthy boundary setting. In other words, if you're off the clock and your boss just sent you an urgent request, you'd be wise to ask yourself, what would a Gen Xer do? Here's a hint, probably say no. Gen Xers are also really independent. And I know we talked about this a little bit already, but one of the biggest characteristics of our generation would be our self-reliance. I can't say it enough. That whole helicopter parenting, whatever you want to call it, none of these forms of parenting apply to us. A lot of us were left to figure things out, like dinner, on our own and watch hours and hours of TV. As a result, you're really not going to find us asking for help until we've actually exhausted every single method or challenge on our own. One of the biggest, of course, has been technology, but we know life before and after the tech boom. So we have an excellent understanding of both the digital world and the analog world. We're pretty comfortable with both. A lot of us won't hesitate to write things down on paper as opposed to a message on text message. But we are also very adaptable and we're keeping up with technology. We're just not slaves to it. We know what it means to unplug from time to time. We also like to leave our phones at home before we head out for a restaurant reservation or a party with our friends. We're just not slaves to it. So yeah, I think Gen X is pretty great, especially getting stuff done. But let's not make a big deal about it, okay? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I am so grateful for your continued support and encouragement from all of my friends, and especially my Gen Xers, who seem to be the largest group of people who are interested in listening every week. So thank you. If you'd like to reach out to us, please do so at makemewhole@bossesofbliss.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram on Bosses of Bliss and on TikTok at Blissful Boss. This episode is dedicated to my girl, Tanya. Happy birthday, girl. Love you. She's fabulous at 50 and doing the thing. Remember, complain less and do more. I'll see you on the next one.